3 years ago, I made this video and AI Bros crashed out. Last year, my follow-up, same thing. What are they so mad about? Spoiler alert, it hasn't been a good year for AI art. And while you watch me draw this today, let's take a look at each one of my original claims and see why everything I predicted 3 years ago is now coming true. My first original claim was that AI users, they're not even interested in art. And what really made a lot of AI users fly off the handle on this one, when I talk about AI image generation users, of course, is that it's not even fair to call them artists, but let's call them what they are. They are consumers because they are just drinking copious amounts of copium from all of these AI image generation companies. And we'll talk about why that's not working out for them the way that they planned. And so my biggest claim back then that I'm gonna propel forward here is that there's nobody that's in AI art that's a big zealot of AI image generation that is actually interested in art. But what do we see now? There have been so many people that have now, thankfully, starting to come out of this big AI image generation bubble lie. People are getting back in art. They're vocalizing out against it, and they're expressing all of the limitations that have been present with it since the start, and they're still there. And we'll get into all those limitations in a minute, even though AI Bros don't want me to tell you that. And so one of the best ways I can express it to you is through this tweet that says, AI isn't art, it's just data. And data can only look backwards and creativity looks forwards. And so for you, don't think that AI is going to override what you are capable of, because it never has and it never will. And so for you, all my artistic friends, keep up the pressure. It's thanks to you and the general public, and we'll talk about why that's been such a big, awesome force against AI image generation and AI in general throughout this video today. But we need to help to continue to free people from the creative shackles of AI usage. And you're doing a great job of it. And so what's my future prediction? There will be loads more AI users coming out of this coping coma and starting to perhaps start to develop a genuine interest. I see this all the time in my comments on each one of my videos that I make, whether it be about this topic or not. And then they're also going to start to develop a lot of awareness based on a lot of issues that I'm going to expose to you throughout this entire video today. But this whole disingenuous interest in art is coming down hard. Moving on, my next big prediction was that AI is going to suffer from a nasty case of advanced aging because of the fact that it's just been proven to be a bunch of gimmicks. And every single year, we see new gimmicks added to its repertoire. And so now, what's happening since then? First off is that AI users keep on coping over the fact that all these gimmicks put into each and every update to every single software out there, it still makes it painfully obvious that images are made with AI, and they do not want to admit that. And so why do all these companies need to push out all of these minor gimmicks all the time? Because it restarts the hype and it restarts the hysteria towards it too, and the fear mongering. And we gotta watch out because that's what companies want you to feel. It's designed. And so what are we seeing here for the latest gimmicks? Is we see trends on social media. You might remember when everybody was turning themselves into dolls and plastic action figures. And so its main claim to fame, as far as why it's getting so much better, is because it's mostly built into a lot of social media apps. And it's annoying because it literally floods everybody's feeds with it. And so what this is doing is just getting the eyes and attention of mostly teenagers that don't have anything better to do with their time and people pooping on the toilet. So good job. And so now what are we finding? AI is basically considered a toy and not a tool. And beyond that, it's considered a tool of destruction. So when we take a look at this Gallup poll, basically found that 7 out of 10 Americans oppose AI. And then let's also not overlook what happens to brands and different products that are using AI in that, because I can't wait to go ahead and bust the doors open on that. Meanwhile, what's happening for every single product that is going anti-AI? Because did you know that that's been a big thing this year? It's been awesome. For example, have you heard that Rockstar Games has pledged that nothing in their entire game was made with AI? It's all human made. We also see this very similarly in the instance of the Coke ad, that deplorable AI Coke ad that everybody hates. Now you see Pepsi coming back hard and saying, we are not gonna do that. And they're actually making fun of them with it. And that anti-AI trend is picking up so much steam. You might also remember that, A big gimmick that happened back in 2024 was this thing called Sora video generation. And what happened since then? Well, popularity from 2025 that exploded very well fizzled out with the 99% user drop. Because one of the things that we're learning about gimmicks with AI and AI image generation, especially here, is that novelty isn't sustainable. So what's my future prediction on this? Well, I think first and foremost, we're going to continue to see gimmicks because they have to try and justify their toy. We're also going to see loads of the same issues. And let's also wonder, will AI companies maybe have to pay artists? I have my thoughts on that coming soon too. But AI image generation is aging like milk. My next prediction was that AI is going to be writing a lot of empty checks that it can't cash. And boy, did that come true in way more ways than one. So first and foremost, let's talk about the fact that it's a whole bunch of empty promises. And it has been promised to deliver a lot of riches, and it's only been able to feed crumbs at best. And this year, there have been such harsh judgments made against those that are using AI and trying to go ahead and bolster it. And so here's a great example. If you have a great idea, you better not use AI for it because this is going to happen to you. Look at what happens when you use AI. You get review bombed. You get this instant bad press and hate towards it because people don't like it. And what's great, and I want to expose for you throughout this video today, is how this used to be artists were just like the silent minority of people. And no, AI users and enthusiasts, you're now officially the minority in 2026. Love seeing that. But here's a great example. If you've all ever seen this game, this is called Party Animals, which is basically kind of a fighting game where you battle each other with stuffed toys and stuff that you would find in a kid's room, which low-key sounds pretty fun. But they were trying to do this AI video generation contest and they got destroyed online. Have you heard about this one? And basically, so they got annihilated with 15,000 review bombs as soon as this happened. And now, the developers are trying to scramble and do damage control. It's so not working out well. Here's another big one too. You might have heard of who won Game of the Year and pretty well swept it, and that was Clair Obscur Expedition 33, a widely celebrated, beautiful game. And then, however, very shortly after, it was stripped of all of its titles. And why was that? Because they had AI-generated fillers in there. And so they had to go on a little apology tour for it. And so one thing I do have to say a lot of respect for on this is that the development team will no longer use any AI image generation assets within their creation at any point. Awesome. Mad respect for you on that one. I wish you learned that lesson before, but I think that there's a lot of misconception about like how much AI was used during that process anyways, because that game is too beautiful to be all AI. And so let's also continue to observe how AI is doing on the freelance market, which, oh, look at that, is terrible. You have dominated one major space, which is taking all of the cheap clients, the worst clients, and the most abusive clients. And I want to say, good riddance. Have at them, because you're doing us all a favor. All the people that were never going to pay for art in the first place are happy to go ahead and work with you and be dissatisfied with you. And good luck giving them any type of revisions. And then what we're also seeing is a lot of dissatisfied clients who are figuring this out for themselves, starting to return back to artists. Wow, who could have predicted that one? So what's my future prediction on this? Yes, we are going to continue to see falsely promised AI users continue to flood more platforms, which will then also lead to the next point. My next prediction was that AI image generation users, again, because they have inauthentic interests and aren't in the first place, is that they are only in it for the money. And if you look down at the well, oh, look at that. You can see the bottom because that well is running dry. And so here's a fun fact for you too. According to literally all studies and statistics on this, actually all AI companies are completely broke and they're only running on investor funds. And so that's why they have to keep getting pumped up with money. There's actually no money to be made through AI image generation, and they are proving this just in their operations. Now, one thing that keeps popping up as an ugly recurring head on this rhetoric is the fact that people will say, well, people are making so much money on AI. Well, what are they actually making money on? People that are doing this and trying to get full-time incomes are only doing it through two main methods. Is that they're selling courses and they're selling classes on how to use AI, and they're selling that to people because of the sustained interest bubble into it. It's unfortunate and it is popping, and I do want to let you know really good things about that today. And if you don't believe me, check out this tweet just from Harvard. Harvard alone canceled its ChatGPT because of its high cost and its low usage. And this is far from the only corporation or even educational institution that is leaving AI behind in the dust. And here's another really great thing too. If you haven't noticed, AI bro cesspools and thieves' dens are becoming more and more scarce nowadays. And so what you will see on literally any platform is this insane amount of Facebook groups and subreddits and Discord servers and the like that are now adopting very strict anti-AI art policies in them. So to you, I just want to say, great job. Keep up the pressure. You are doing it. And so that leads me to wonder, is this something that is going to go away? And I have my thoughts on that. But as of this moment in time, these art thieves and art posers are running out of shadows to hide it. Even outside of AI image generation, take a look at what happened at Bandcamp here, and they've banned all AI music from it. This is happening on all fronts, and you are doing a great job at this, so keep it up. And what's my future prediction here? Well, it can't satisfy clients, it can't fulfill any job requirements, there's not going to be any new jobs in this either, nor any real money to be made because it's a very unspecialized skill, much like flipping a McDonald's hamburger. And even the ones that are trying to do well, they're going to keep running into a lower sustained interest pool into it. The ones that are trying to go freelance on this are going to continue to dissatisfy their clients, pushing them back to us real artists too. And so overall, until that denial wall is hit, keep running into it, AI bros. You're doing a great job. Moving on, one of my original predictions is that people are going to catch on to this savvy, snaky, slithery little community that we call the AI communities. In my original prediction, I said that this is going to continue to be a sustained, self-serving, and self-vying interest group. They're only looking out for themselves, and they don't care about the future of art as much as they try to pretend to be, and that they are not as welcoming as you might think. And moreover, I claim that they are probably the worst community of artists to ever exist. And so what's been going on since my original prediction? Well, first and foremost, they're still trying to copyright their little prompts. And oh, look, would you look at that? Recently, the United States Supreme Court hearing failed to do it for a third time in a row. Here's the world's smallest violin for them, I guess. Slop writers, please give it up. You're not going to make it happen. And then beyond that, can you imagine trying to copyright something like you created it when you stole it, when it's not yours and you didn't actually do anything to make it? That's so ridiculous. And then we keep on seeing just the dumbest rhetoric that these people keep promoting that are unfounded, unsubstantiated, and unsupported through any means, through anything artistic, educational, nor psychological as well. And there's so much research coming out about the detrimental effects of being into this group and being a part of anything associated with AI. And I am gonna hit you with some hard statistics today on that too. But I still see these communities pwning 5 years, literally 4 years since AI came out, the same dumb, self-destructive narratives. And then I love seeing all of this backlash. And just to show you a couple really savage tweets, I love this one that says, I wanted to run the London Marathon, but training takes too long and is too hard as a pudgy 47-year-old, so I got an Uber to the finish line. It's not fair that athletic people gatekeep long distance running. I'm still a marathon runner. And isn't that just totally like what AI bros say as their handsome excuse for why they can't make art, which is sad, by the way, because anybody can make art. They just chose not to because it wasn't a priority. And then they also keep saying that it's the best form of art ever, which also relates to this awesome tweet that says, well, if you hate the juice at the bottom of the restaurant dumpster, you hate food and cooking. It's an infinite mashup of the best food made by humans. And this is what this community, if you want to call it that, although I think it'd be fair to call it more of an incest pool because they are literally poisoning their own genetic well, they're not seeing that the writing is on the wall and people don't agree with them. I don't even think they agree with themselves. And y'all, have you seen how much peak opposition people are having to this one? Oh my God, like, have you seen this that happened right here? All these pro AI zealots that are giving commencement speeches at 3 different universities, totally booed hard by everybody there just for mentioning it. It was delicious to see this happen. And so what's my future prediction? Is that the AI art bro community, they're going to still try and push their narrative. People are going to continue to push back, and that they will never gain the protections that they want for their precious little haikus or poems or whatever they want to call their little prompts that aren't anything substantial. It's just data and it's programming, because that would violate the basis of their theft machine. They would have to admit that they were wrong. Moving on, my next prediction was that AI would continue to bring absolutely nothing to the table, nothing substantial, and that honestly, nothing's ever going to come from it. And wow, am I so impressed with this last current year? Because AI has been deliciously, savagely roasted and called out in so many outstanding ways. Like, for example, have you heard what the word of the year 2025 is? Because when you check it out right here from Merriam-Webster, the word of the year was slop. Look at that. It's not just us calling it that, it's the entire world. And then too, the Green Bay Packers recently came under fire for suspected use of AI during one of their teasers. And they have since then had to go ahead and put out a press release because people called it slop. And they are now remaking everything. And boy, fun fact for you, y'all know this, that nobody hates AI and AI image generation more than Gen Z? Like, here's an example. I was at a local high school and I walked into the bathroom, okay? And right on the wall, in big black Sharpie marker, someone wrote FAI. And I was like, yeah, that's awesome. And again, why are all of these graduation ceremonies where people even mention AI or attempt to praise it being booed? Again, this is not just a small minority of artists. This is general opinion formed at this point. And there's so many factors I want to expose to you today that make it far beyond just artist circles. And it's awesome to see this happening real time. And to put some more proof to this pudding, even Business Insider cited that Gen Z is leading the #1 backlash against AI, which is awful for these AI companies because they're literally losing their #1 demographic of user bases. And then the UFO table, you know, the guys behind Demon Slayer, made this absolutely roasting remark. And they said, what we were doing, AI can never create it. Heck yes. We all agree with that one. No AI animation is good. Nobody likes it. It's weird. It's uncanny. And honestly, people that have a lot of views on this stuff only do it because people share it around to laugh at it and because it is extra sloppy. And so what's going to happen in the future? First off, AI art will still be identifiable as much as users don't want to admit it. And that AI users will be coping harder than ever trying to deal with this, and AI companies trying to go ahead and damage control this, which they are doing an absolutely terrible job at and will only get worse. Love it. Next, as we continue with the rest of my predictions, I'd love for you to go ahead and come along for this ride for me on how to go ahead and be an outstanding artist in this current year and beyond, to dominate any art market and to go ahead and start that art business regardless of what AI bros don't want you to do. And if you're on board with that, please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe, because I'll be giving you hard-hitting information like this and advice that other people just won't tell you. If you're on board with that, please go ahead and share this video with someone that you know so that we can dispel all this AI hype and hysteria. And now let's move into the next sets. Moving forward, my prediction was that there would be more and more anti-AI art software suites that would come out. Obviously, we've seen Glaze. Obviously, we've experienced Nightshade as well. And so these programs are also starting to develop themselves to become more accessible for people that don't have high-powered machines, which is great. But what I'm also noticing is this over-ingestion of AI images, the proficiency of the databases, is heavily becoming a much bigger threat to themselves, because AI databases are now being corrupted by AI images indiscriminately, which is awesome. But then honestly, y'all, the best anti-AI art software right now has been you, human beings. Like, way better than any program could ever hope. And this blew my expectations so well, because public perception and brand damage as a result of AI is exploding. So let me just show you this breakdown right here. So as of this moment in time, 40% of marketers have paused AI usage in branding for brand damages, PR issues, and boycotts. Wow. And then 50% of consumers find AI products a turnoff. Surprise, surprise, we've been saying that for years, right? And then 66% of business owners are reporting that AI makes branding feel inauthentic and less personal. And then finally, 70% of marketers report incidents with branding from use of AI. So what is working far best, even beyond any anti-AI tech, is you. But it is being built into a few other software suites. There are some drawing programs that do now automatically offer this. And obviously platforms are coming into existence that have this already built into it. Like for example, if you've never heard of VGen, they are strictly a no AI platform. Newegg is also strictly a no AI platform. Kara, anti-AI platform. And these are only going to increase in numbers. And my future prediction on this, well, things are going even better than I predicted, and also as I predicted too, which is a huge win for you, artist. AI models and AI model collapse, it's getting real, and it's only going to get worse, especially when it can only ingest AI content, and that's going to make it more and more flawed and more obvious. But us artists, we're gonna show them the way forward, that they can't steal, and they're always gonna be playing catch up. So catch us if you can, but you won't. Next, this prediction absolutely ignites every single one of the AI bros that might still be watching this. And I said this 3 years ago, and I meant every word of it, that AI has completely capped at its proficiency. It has jumped the shark, and that it is not going to get much better than what it is right now. And I said that years ago, and I'm still not seeing anything that convinces me otherwise. It has only had marginal advances. And let me just put proof to this pudding. It's been 4 years since AI hit the scene. Who are the big AI artists? What AI shows are you watching right now? What AI games are you playing right now? And even when people combat me and they try and submit some name, the first thing I do is I go ahead and I go look on their page or their YouTube channel or anything. And honestly, it's just more dumb, sloppy imagery. It's things that people are paying attention to, not because they appreciate it. Outside of the AI community, of course, we don't appreciate it. Nobody does, and public opinion is proving this, but it's because people are sharing it in order to laugh at it. And that's what the users don't want to admit, am I right? And AI bros, please try and drop the names of all your sloppy companions into my comments, because I'll look at every single one of them and they're all not doing well. Nobody cares about this. They are not known and they are not going to make it happen. And then beyond this, what we're seeing is that Gen AI is now public enemy number one. AI opposition is peaking right now, and it is beautiful to see, because AI companies, they're now struggling to try and make their product something substantial and actually, do something with it. And to do that, they need loads more power. And then what's happening? Well, what we see here is that AI data centers are emphatically hated. Communities, they're revolting. They don't want them. Honestly, I think that if you're like a big AI zealot, you should automatically have to go and live right near one of those data centers, and then you can experience how awesome it is and how amazing it is. And you can live in your own little dystopian bubble right there. And then what we're also seeing right now is that AI companies are literally admitting that they need artists because they've run out of things to train it on. And then we also see the emergence of weird new companies. And I'm gonna go ahead and just completely denounce this company. If you've never heard of Monolith, okay? They're basically this company right here that wants you to go ahead and pay some type of a premium for them to go ahead and supposedly make sure that you get paid whenever your art is used for training data and or is similar to something that somebody else uses. And just for this, I hate this, and I just want to tell you why. This is a very poor, hegemonic plea for power. This is basically AI companies begging us for help making their product better and letting us just become more collateral damage in the process. And I am not for that. And any of these companies that come out, screw them. You should not have to pay to have your work and your authentic voice not be used. That's wrong. Any version of bargaining for power with AI companies is fruitless. Go screw yourself. Say no to this. And so what will happen in the future? One thing I predict is that AI companies are going to continue to try and beg and continue to try and plead and continue to try and make these models that are going to suffer the consequences of not making anything substantial still. And for you as an artist, Should you buy in to this weird little plea for power from them? No. Let them suffer. They don't deserve it. And you don't deserve to pay for it either. Because there will continue to be no enthusiasm for these posers, and the only people that do are the ones that have ego problems. Now we got to talk about cracking the egg on the legality surrounding AI image generation. And my goodness, my original prediction is that this gray area that AI currently exists within is going to start to shrink pretty hard. And it's really not going well. So if you're not familiar with this one, first off, over the last year alone, there have been double the amount of lawsuits put out against all AI companies and yes, AI image generation companies within there. In 2024, it was between 30 and 40. Now at this present time, my data suggests that it's between 70 to 80 different open lawsuits. That's a lot. And so here are some current big decisions that are happening. First and foremost, for the class action lawsuit against DeviantArt, OpenAI, Midjourney et al., that black box, that training data is now going through the discovery phase. So it's going to be exposed and it's not going to be good. Also too, if you didn't know, Anthropic was sued for consuming all of these copywritten periodicals and books, and they were fined $3 billion for damages that they had to pay out to all of their data training sets. That's pretty awesome. And then if you didn't know this too, Mexico has declared that AI images cannot be copyrighted following the US Supreme Court decision as well. And now even China has a policy where jobs cannot lay off because of AI replacements. Now it's kind of weird low-key because they're also the ones making a lot of really prominent AI training data sets and AI softwares. That's kind of weird, but it's still good. That's good news for us. And then yes, AI art is still in that legal gray area. We see this happening. But it's showing massive signs of improvement. We're seeing more and more big companies lose and pay out for various reasons. So what used to be really protected for them, it's becoming harder to do it because of all the attention that it's getting. So keep it up. You're making it happen. Now for my next prediction. One of the things I said was, well, what would happen if AI took over? And what if it did take over all platforms and all markets and all selling databases? Well, first and foremost, I just want to put it out there is that the only one it has saturated is the worst platforms that were already bad for artists to begin with. So please have at Fiverr. You deserve those $10 commissions. You go for it, all right? Nobody wanted them anyways, and they're not good for anyone. And so you might also think, well, Sean, what if all your points are just foolishness and nonsense? Well, my prediction 3 years ago was that, well, if AI art did take over, it would only be done so by artists using it. But I want to go ahead and actually contrast that because it's only losing ground with actual artists, and that's good. And so here's what we're seeing right now. First and foremost, why would we want to work with something that takes the joy out of our creation? Like, just to be real, nobody asked for something that would take away my ability to create art. No artist said, you know what, I really like creating. I wish that there was a machine that would just do this for me. We enjoy this process, and if you're like that too, please shout out, because this dumb AI conversation, it needs to be dispelled. And in a job market, like, why would you potentially want to go ahead and use and adapt to something that is ultimately going to potentially replace you and outsource you? And so what we're seeing right now too, especially this year, is that workers are actively sabotaging and purposely producing lackluster results just to further demonstrate the inadequacy of this technology. And again, we are seeing artists maladapting to this. So it's funny because we were always told since the beginning that we have to adapt or die. And instead we're like, screw you, you die instead. Because this is, again, it's sucking the joy out of the process. We enjoy the process. AI Bros can't figure this out, that we enjoy the work that we do because they hate the work that they do. And because of the fact that they hate their lives and they hate their jobs, then they have to go ahead and transpose that onto artists. And this is not the case. We do enjoy creative work. I enjoy creative labor just like you, even though it is hard. But you know what? We all pick what's hard and we suffer for it. And that's what life is. And another thing that's happening around this time is that a lot of artists are wholly rejecting the use of it altogether. And that's just because of the fact that we've realized that AI is not a tool and that there's no ethical database. I'm so tired of people saying that, like they're the special snowflake in the world that uses an ethical database. There's none. They don't exist. They all use stolen data. They all use some free data, but they use mostly stolen copywritten data. They use proprietary images that were made from artists just like us. And honestly, that all started with Lion 4 years ago. And what's my future prediction on this one? Well, will AI ever really replace artists? I think first and foremost, AI will never really replace artists. That's a ludicrous assumption. That is that weird anarchistic plot for people that are miserable with their lives and they want to make other people feel it as well. Also, what we're seeing is nobody is getting hired without real art skills. And just to put it out there too, AI image generation is not a skill you need to learn. It's not bandaging anything that you don't already know. And your ability to use it or not is not going to be any type of definitive practice that you need to have in your repertoire in order to get hired. Because everybody that's been hired as an AI artist has been promptly, see what I did there, fired for it too. And that's not going to change. And that's because no program can ever do what we do, nor will it ever. And furthermore, now we ask and we tackle this question. Can AI art go away? Honestly, I don't think so. I don't think that it's something that necessarily is going to be completely annihilated because we've already opened this box. But here's the good news on that front though. What we can do is we continue to push our opposition, to continue to resist it, to go ahead and call out the people using it. And then also we can degrade the efforts of the people doing it and help wake them up to the fact that this is not good. It's not good for artists. It's not good for the environment. And then it will be pushed back to the darkest corners where it can be thankfully forgotten, just like those dang awful images on DeviantArt of pregnant Sonic and the like, because it deserves it. So for you artists, press on. Next, the most curious thing that I see all the time is the most awful conversations and the most unintelligent rhetoric surrounding why people think that we need to use AI as artists or why it's an acceptable use for them in their special snowflake minds. And so to tell you all about that, go and check out this video right here about the 50 dumbest things that AI art bros are saying right now and have a great laugh with me. Thanks so much for watching this, and if this helped you, share with someone that you know. See you next time.